Yeah, training for the actors was interesting. We've had them do dive courses for the water stuff because we've had them, in certain situations where, they need to rely on life-saving devices. We've also had them on ropes, doing climbing courses because of their, using them to descend into the cave with obviously a little bit of special effects. I don't know if they knew what they were in for, but I think they've embraced it really well.
We got to do some abseiling training. I'd done a very small amount of abseiling when I was maybe about 10. So it was probably best that we brushed up on those skills because we are actually doing some abseiling in this movie. But apart from that, I'm just kind of relying on my own instinct and, the fact that I can actually swim and
I've learned a couple of skills going into this, just in the preparation for it. We did some dive training, which was new for me, and we did abseiling, which I did way back when I was at school, growing up in Tasmania, so that's been fun to get back into. I got a bit of a taste for it, so maybe I'll do some more like rock climbing after this.
So the film was very action-packed. Abseiling, swimming, rock climbing, I guess. And as for preparation, I more had to unlearn the skills that I've gained over the years from doing a lot of adventuring, a lot of mountain climbing, a lot of caving, all those sorts of things. Victor is the opposite of that, where he's never done these things and probably never would. So it was more kind of trying to look at it with fresh eyes and experience it all like it's happening for the first time. So all the nerves that come with that, which was kind of interesting because obviously when you do feel comfortable doing something, it's come second nature, coming down a rope or staying underwater for a while. So I had to unlearn and then feel it fresh for the first time.
I had no preparation in the lead up to this role. I came on only like a week before we started shooting. So in terms of the actual physicality side of things, it was like work that I'd done in the past really that prepared me in terms of like the swimming and the being in the water. And I mean, my bronze medallion at high school taught me how to swim in clothes, so I don't know if that counts.
There is, with this film, it does have a lot of action and a lot of adventure that's happening underwater stuff, rock climbing and everything like that. We didn't have to do a whole lot of underwater training or anything like that because it is fairly simplistic when you're shooting it. We did run some of the abseiling and rock climbing aspects that occur in the film. I have done a little bit of that before as well, but it was great. It's been a few years. We came back and we settled that up and got to have a bit of a play, as you do, which is always great.
For the sorts of films that we like to do, cast is really key for us, and our characters have to be really multi-dimensional. So we wanted to use great actors for the roles. Always, since the work I've done in Neighbours and other projects, I've always tried to keep track of great Australian cast that are doing well and on the rise. And for that we really pinpointed Luke and Jessica McNamee as our two main cast members, and with the help of casting director Ben Parkinson up here in Brisbane, we also found Amali Golden and Benjamin Hodges, and was big fans of their work as well. And then also really discovered someone I wasn't aware of before, which was Anthony Sharp as Cash.
What's the rest of it? I think it was important for this film to travel, that we had some artists in the film who had an exposure in the North America. These are both actors who have had television credits, network television credits over there, and that was important to sort of give the film some uplift and not be just another independent film with actors that no one really knows. These actors have all got a strong Instagram following, and that's important in terms of the way we would promote the film via social media and other manners.
Hi, I'm Luke Mitchell and I play Eric, who is one of the main instigators for the entire story in Blackwater Abyss.
You ready, big fella? Yeah, it's all good.
My good mate Cash kind of tells me about this possible caving system.
I was searching through the forest and I stumbled across this shaft. I shine my torch in, this thing goes way down. Any luck should lead to a bigger system and start looking some money.
And I'm the caving expert. Yeah, that's kind of how the story kicks off.
Hi, my name's Anthony Sharp. I'm playing the role of Cash in Blackwater Abyss. Cash is a likeable larrikin. He lives up on the north coast of Australia. He's a surfie and runs his own haphazard tour guide company. And he stumbles across a cave out in the bush when he's on a search party looking for some missing bushwalkers, and contacts his friend Eric from out of town, who is an avid cave diver and a bit of an adrenaline junkie, and gets him and his friends in to explore down into this cave. Welcome to Cash's Cave. And yeah, an unexpected weather forecast. What do you reckon? Yeah, it's moving south. We'll be fine.
My name is Jessica McNamee. I play Jen.
Lead the way.
I fit into this Blackwater Abyss world as I am one of 5 friends that go down into a cave. And may or may not come out alive.
We need to get him to a hospital.
My name is Benjamin Hulches. I'm playing Victor.
So there's a cave.
All right, you won't find this on any of your caving websites.
He's Yolanda's partner.
I think it's time you experience the real thing.
Really?
Yeah.
And friends with Eric and Jennifer.
I'm Amali Golden and I play Yolanda. She's in a relationship with Victor and she's best friends with Jen.
Wow, really? That is amazing.
Please don't say anything, okay? I haven't even told Victor.
Similarities between myself and Eric, apart from sharing the same face and body, not that many, to be honest. I think we're both quite outdoorsy and love adventure, though he's definitely more of a thrill seeker than I am. Yeah, he's pretty selfish and kind of a douchebag, and I hope that I'm not those things.
Playing the role of Cash is not too far of a stretch for me. There's quite a few similarities. He is a bit of a joker, and I like to have a bit of a stir with my friends, and that he comes from a country setting, which is very similar to myself. And he likes to talk a lot, which is something that I like to do as well. So playing that actual character of him, yeah, it wasn't too far of a push for me to go ahead with that. Yeah.
I mean, there's always similarities to, I guess, the characters that you play. As obviously there's elements of you that are speckled throughout any character. But I did try and distinguish myself from Jen in that I'm a really kind of dive straight in kind of girl. And I also like to really push my threshold and challenge myself, whereas Jen is definitely not that. She kind of is a little bit more wary, or a lot more wary, I should say. I would say that in the Luke's role of Eric is is more me in nature as a human rather than the Jen role. I'm the one that would likes to lead the charge, likes to be adventurous, likes to take risks. So yeah, that was fun. That's kind of part of the reason why I wanted to play this role, because she was a lot more she's kind of more of an unlikely hero in the instance of this film.
I'm actually completely different to Yolanda in a lot of ways. She's really adventurous and outdoorsy, and I'm a bit more of an indoor gal. So it's been interesting playing someone that's really different to myself.
Well, he's Dutch is a similarity. Other similarities, I like to think I've got a good heart like Victor, but sort of it was interesting because Victor he's not very comfortable in this situation that we've got ourselves into, whereas myself is probably the complete opposite of that.
The cast are great. It's a difficult film. It's physically difficult. We're in water most of the film, and that's just doing the simplest thing of just walking means it's much more difficult because you're surrounded by water, everything's getting wet, it's horribly, it saps your energy. And then on top of that, they had to be in this really intense situation where there's a crocodile trying to kill them, they're in a cave that's flooding, it's full on. And yet every day they sort of came with that, with not only the energy to get through all that, but also the emotional range to give me the performances that I was after. So they were brilliant. I loved working with all my cast.
We don't want to put our actors in crocodile-infested waters, so what we were able to do was to build a set, a pool of water and have the rock formations. We can put our actors in the water.
This film has got a very large studio component. We've had to actually build a cave set where the characters venture into.
And the set, we had like a set that was a water-filled cave, so that's difficult.
My name is Adam Head and I'm the production designer on Blackwater Abyss. We're out at Hemet. We're in a shed backing onto the Screen Queensland studios, and this is our major location, which is the cave set and flooded cavern.
I was introduced to Adam Head through our producer Pam Collis, and I know that Adam had worked with Andrew and Michael both before on The Reef. He's an incredibly talented production designer and thinks in big scale.
We have a very unique production designer who has grown up in southeast Queensland. He's actually from North Queensland, and so is very aware of the local crocodile population.
So we started off at quite a small pool, so to speak, and then it gradually grew and grew and grew until we ended up with basically a 20 by 20 metre pool with a cave set in it, which has about 300 tonne of water in it. My design is because the pool was that size, is our whole idea of is when it floods, instead of flooding the set and adding more and more water, is what we actually do is move the walls in and move them down. So everything moved down to that one water level. To get the realism off it, because it's always kind of hard in a short period of time to sculpt rock. So instead of doing that is you make big latex moulds and actually pour foam into those moulds, so they're actually pulled off real rocks. So that's why we get the realism. I think those ones came from Elephant Rock down at Currumbin, down on the Gold Coast.
And that cave had like 250,000 litres or 250 tonnes of water in it. So, just the logistics of getting that all together was quite a challenge. But then working in it, so I was in a wetsuit for probably all but 5 days of the shoot. It's just, and you've got your script and it's getting wet and everything's getting destroyed by the water and everyone's got water housings and protecting their gear. So that brings a whole nother level, which just makes it difficult, difficult to film because you're in water all day. So I think that, and then of course there was the fact that most of the lighting, a lot of lighting is done by the actors and their actual light sources. So, torches would flick off heads or torches wouldn't be pointed in the right direction. So all of a sudden you had a real lighting dilemma on your hands in the middle of a great take. So, between the pressure of the time, the water and the lighting and all the other thousands of things that go on in a film set, it was pretty demanding.
Basically, but when we got all the materials and we started building the set, it was probably about 4 weeks to get it done because we had a 5-week pre-production period. So in that first week, it was basically ordering all the materials and trying to get started and move in here and set the workshop up. And then basically had 4 weeks to build everything.
This is what it's all about.
In Blackwater Abyss, we've got one of our characters is the crocodile.
As with the original film, we are using real crocodiles again. Andrew has a particular interest in using the real creatures, and he visited the crocodile farm in Darwin as he did previously, and captured a crocodile going through various motions, various actions, and we are going to enhance this with the use of models and of course with computer generated effects.
So, you know, CGI has come a long way, and I think it does a fantastic job, but there's still something about using real animals that gives it that sort of reality and visceral feel about it. Like, there's nothing, no matter how good your CGI is, you still can't quite get the reality of that crocodile. And, you know, so I decided again to use real crocodiles because they just, for me, it just brings something to the film. It just, you know, for me, filmmaking, you've got to have a realism. No matter how fictitious your story is, it's still got to have its own internal realism. And the more you can prop that up and make that feel solid, the better your film will travel. And having real crocodiles really helps a crocodile thriller, I think. I mean, I've seen a lot of bad CGI crocs, but anyway, I just wanted to use real crocodiles again, and so we did. And you know, that was in itself as a major effort, because you have to go film these animals, and of course they're wild animals, and they don't just, when you roll over, they don't just do what you want to do. So it was very laborious waiting and trying to shoot these animals. And on top of that, because a lot of the action is in a dark cave, we had to film them at night. So which added another level of interest, which, you know, so you're out at midnight filming crocodiles in the middle of the night. It was pretty wild at times. But I'm really happy we used real crocodiles again, because, like I say, for me, it just cements the reality of it gives the film another level of realism.
For some of the action sequences with Blackwater Abyss, we use parts of crocodiles, so use silicon models of the crocodiles, so when people are being attacked, they can actually interact with those real elements, and then we enhance it with special effects.
It's a combination of heads and tails and teeth and things like this, and they're all made specifically to perform a function in the film.
A lot of the special effects of moving through the water, and we've got a couple of snapping rigs, a crocodile that turns its head and flops, we've got tails, we've got like some fiberglass crocodiles we've made rigs for. This crocodile here, for example, we did so it went on a piston rig, and you could shoot it out of the water and get the correct splash.
We have done a shoot in Darwin with real crocodiles doing sequences that we will cut into this film. There will be some visual effects to marry the two together, but essentially we'll be using a prop, a fake crocodile, that will act in the film. But the real crocodiles are real.
And that's one thing that Andrew's always done within his films, is utilise real elements within natural surroundings with the actors.